we love food, colored green, bell peppers and long string beans, pickles, celery, cucumbers too. All these foods are good for you.
Welcome to Storytime Cooks, where we learn about food through books. Happy Thanksgiving. Today, we're going to be reading a book called Thanksgiving Day, and this week on Thursday is Thanksgiving Day. We hope everyone will have a wonderful Thanksgiving. This story is by Gail Gibbons. And the first page says November, and that is the month that we are in. It's the next to the last month of the whole year. 2021 has gone pretty quickly for some of us. Thanksgiving reminds people of the Pilgrims many years ago. The Pilgrims wanted to worship God in their own way, which they had not been allowed to do. And you'll notice the Pilgrims' clothes look very different than what our clothes do. The men have on tall hats, and the women have on little white caps. And that was something that they wore all the time. They left their homes in England and sailed across the ocean to the New World in a ship called the Mayflower. Some of you may have been on a boat before, but this boat had lots of people, and it had to carry their food and animals and everything they needed to live in a new place. And it really wasn't that big of a boat. When you think about how much stuff they had to put on there, it would have been very crowded. The voyage was difficult and stormy. The Mayflower was crowded, and many of the Pilgrims became sick. If you've ever had to rock back and forth on the water in a boat, you might have felt a little bit funny, and they had to be on there for days and days. Finally, after many weeks, they sighted land. They rowed to the shores of America to begin their new lives. And I bet they were really excited to see land after being on that boat for so long. They began to build houses, but it wasn't long before the cold winter came. And the Pilgrims didn't have very much food because they hadn't been there long enough to grow anything yet. And many of them got sick. It was really hard. Spring finally arrived, and some Indians showed the Pilgrims how to plant corn and beans and pumpkins. They were very fortunate to make new friends, and we can learn a lot from people. So it's important for us to make new friends and to learn things from each other. The Pilgrims learned how to hunt, and that helped them to be able to eat better too. You can see they've got bows and arrows. Their crops grew and grew, and when fall came, their harvest was great. The Pilgrims wanted to thank God for the food that they would have through the cold winter months. They decided to have a Thanksgiving feast because they were so thankful, and the Pilgrims invited their Indian friends. So they were going to have a party and enjoy each other's company and eat lots of food. The food was wonderful. They had turkey with nuts and herbs and cranberries, and they made some sauce from the cranberries. They roasted deer meat, and there was cornbread and beans and maybe even some pumpkin pie. That might sound like some of the things that we're going to have on Thanksgiving this week. What is your favorite Thanksgiving food? I'll have to admit that pumpkin pie and that cranberry salad are some of my favorite things. The Pilgrims and Indians played many games and shared happy times together. The feast lasted for 3 whole days. That is a long time to have a party. There was much to be thankful for. On Thanksgiving Day, we celebrate much like the Pilgrims' Thanksgiving. Some homes are decorated with corn stalks and with pumpkins and gourds and colorful fall leaves to look like the harvest time. And I've seen some pretty decorations around houses here in our community that look really pretty and fallish. And we have lots of pumpkins that we grow in our fields. Pictures of pilgrims and turkeys appear on windows, and on doors, and sometimes we even light some candles. Horns of plenty, or cornucopias, and that's what we're going to work with today, represent a bountiful harvest, and they can also be used for decoration. Hymns of thanksgiving are sung, and prayers and blessings are spoken, because we do have a lot to be thankful for. Families and friends gather together for a feast, and many tables are filled with some of the same kinds of foods that the Pilgrims and Indians shared. There's some other things, like cranberry sauce and a big turkey stuffed with breadcrumbs, herbs, and nuts, and maybe some sweet potatoes and some beans and squash and cornbread. It's making me hungry just reading this story. And maybe a tasty pumpkin pie for dessert. Now, after we eat all that food, we need to get out and move around. So we might want to go outside and play some games, maybe play some football, and some of our families might watch some football on TV. One of my favorite Thanksgiving traditions is to watch the parades. And there's some fun big floats to watch and lots of music and bands. You might try marching to some of those bands that are playing music. On Thanksgiving Day, we have much to be thankful for, and we really do. So we have a basket of food here, and the food is all different colors. And I brought some of our color cards so we could think about some of the different colors of foods that we eat. We might eat red apples, or these beets are kind of red. We have green, and we might eat green squash, or green grapes, or a green pear. We have yellow, and we might have some yellow pineapple, or some yellow corn. Think about some other yellow foods. We have orange, and we talked about pumpkins, and we might have carrots, and then we even have some blue foods. And our blue foods that we're going to have today are blueberries. And blueberries grow on a bush. You can buy them frozen in the grocery store, or you can get them fresh. So we like to eat lots of different colors of food, and we like to eat foods from all different parts of my plate. We need to have some fruits and vegetables and grains and protein and some dairy. Well, today, we're going to make one of those horns of plenty, or cornucopias, and we're going to use a waffle. So you can buy a waffle at the grocery store in the frozen food section, or you can make your own waffle. And we're going to fold our waffle up, and it kind of looks like that cornucopia. And we've actually stuck a toothpick in it to kind of hold it together. And then instead of using all those different vegetables in our cornucopia to make a breakfast treat, we're going to put some delicious fruit in our cornucopia. So we could use some strawberries and blueberries and grapes. You could slice some bananas and put in there. You could put pineapple or pears. Whatever your favorite fruits are, just fill that waffle full. And that might be a fun Thanksgiving breakfast to make a cornucopia waffle treat. I hope everyone has a happy Thanksgiving, and will come back and join us again next week for Storytime Cooks, where we continue to learn about food through books.
We love food colored green, bell peppers and long string beans, pickles, celery, cucumbers too.